Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You are tuned to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, CNBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Audible, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and more. Because this is a show about hope and happiness, and I want you to start every single day the best possible way. Instead of doing this and finding out all the bad news and what's wrong with people, what's wrong with the world, I want to bring you people, places, things, ideas, answers to how you can have the best day ever and claim your birthright, which is to be happy 88% of the time. Why 88% and not 100? Well, if you're 100% happy, you're dead. I don't want dead people walking because we need the contrast, but it has been a habit, even hashtag BC19, the time before COVID, where a lot of people were not happy. 1 out of 4 on antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication, nothing against drugs that work. But for the majority of people, even on those medications, they were getting side effects and still not feeling themselves or claiming their birthright to happiness. So, you know me, I am hashtag positively opinionated and going to try to get you to drink my rose-colored Kool-Aid so you can be happy today and almost every day, 88% of the time. So, today is November 1st, and I hope you had a great Halloween, a happy 88 Halloween. And because I had the twins on Friday, I didn't get a chance to give you some really interesting facts about Halloween that my station owner, Fred Lundgren, sent me. So here are some interesting statistics from Cinch Home Services to see how many people have been affected by a house haunting in their homes. They surveyed over 1,000 people to find out. Here's how haunted the West is. 83% of people have experienced paranormal activity at least once in their homes. 76% say it happened in their current home. 1 in 10 people moved out of their home after a paranormal experience. The West, 30%, is the second most haunted region in the U.S., followed by the Midwest, 17%, and Northeast, 15%. Interesting. 25% of farmhouses in the West are said to be haunted. Okay, here's an interesting one. 32% of paranormal activity in the West takes place in the bedroom. Man, I could go all kinds of places with that. So if you wake up with an alien in your bed who's not coyote ugly, okay, sorry, I'll stop. Another 32% takes place in the living room and 7% takes place in the kitchen. Again, I won't comment on that. 41% of people are willing to live in a haunted house and 55% are willing to live next to one. And people in the West, on the West Coast, 70% are the most likely to be extremely willing to buy a haunted house. 57% expect to pay less for it. So I hope you found that as interesting as I did. If you live in a haunted house, you might want to go to Cinch Home Services and fill out their survey. All right. Now, November 1st, moving from Halloween. In October, we are 1st of November. It is one of my favorite months because it is Thanksgiving month, and I'm all about the power of gratitude to make you feel better. So let's find out what's so special about November 1st? Well, first of all, it's All Saints Day, generally celebrated on the 1st of November as a commemoration day for all Christian saints. It may also be known as All Hallows Day, Solemnity of All Saints, Hallowmas, or the Feast of Saints. It is also National Cook for Your Pets Day. I don't know what you're going to cook for them. It is also the start of National Native American Heritage Month, which is a wonderful month to celebrate those who actually owned our land before we got here. And the recognition of that, I think, is important as we move into this century of trying to balance out the wrongs and to recognize diversity and the valuing of it. It is also National Healthy Skin Month, National Impotency Month, and I'll tell my favorite George Burns joke for that one. He was asked when he turned 90 if he still had sex, and George Burns said, that would be like shooting pool with a rope. So that's my celebrating National Impotency Month. It is also National Fun with Fondue Month. That would qualify for the deliciousness of life theme that I love to point out. It's also Lung Cancer Awareness Month. So if you haven't already checked her Cancer Schmancer site, one of my past guests, Fran Drescher, does a fabulous job with this website that has tons of really good information about how to reduce your risk of cancer, preventative measures. So please do go check that out. Also, it's National Peanut Butter Lovers Month, again, for the deliciousness of life. It's also National No Shave November. Pretend you didn't hear that, because I definitely prefer no hair on the face. It's World Vegan Day, and I'll point that out for my favorite niece, Christina, and my favorite older daughter, Chloe, because they are vegan proud. It's National Men Make Dinner Day. Women, guess what? You have my permission to, after the show's over, give your husband or husband a call and say, guess who's making dinner tonight? Not me. It's you, because it is National Men Make Dinner Month. And finally, it is National Authors Month. Oh, no. And finally, it is National Authors Day. Woohoo! I am grateful and happy to be a best-selling author. That was never my plan. I actually lost a $200,000 consulting project. Those of you know my doctor is actually in organizational psychology. And maybe one day I thought I would write a book, but certainly not at that time. And this was right before COVID. And after I lost the money and the project at a big client of mine, I stomped my feet, went, oh crap, used a bunch of bad words. And then, as is my hashtag Blisscipline, I asked the question, I can't wait to see what good comes out of this. And those of you know I love sarcasm. So that was said with a little sarcasm. And the voice said, write. And I went, right? I don't have time to write. And the voice said, you do now. And next thing you know, I sat down and wrote the first chapter out of loneliness into hope, and the last chapter out of control into happiness. And the following day, I was contacted by a West Coast publisher who said, we follow motivational speakers on LinkedIn. Have you written anything lately? I kid you not. And I'm like, are you forking kidding me? So I sent the 2 chapters, and the next thing I know, I had a contract in front of me. I actually didn't publish with them. I wanted a more traditional publisher in New York. And that's how I got to Morgan James, who I just found out has me listed on the front page as one of the 38 best-selling authors, because I did hit number 4 on Denver Post, number 1 on Amazon. They really don't count Amazon, but that's okay. I made it on the Denver Post. So I'm grateful for that, and grateful for the fact that this little baby went 8 bestseller lists, 4 book medals. And the best part, one of the best parts, is that part proceeds go to Habitat for Humanity. So if you're looking for a great holiday gift idea for anyone who wants to be happier in their lifetime, anybody who wants to do the exercises in the book, and I promise if you finish them, you'll never hate yourself the same way again. It's the perfect book for the holidays as we come out of the pandemic to make sure you are on your best foot forward, to be happy, to claim your birthright to happiness. If you are one of the 7 out of 10 of us who've had childhood trauma, that's why I wrote the book. I didn't write the book as a psychologist telling you how and why to be happy, but from my personal experiences. So you'll also get to know me a little better from my childhood trauma, being beaten as a child, from being told I was fat, ugly, and clumsy, to a very expensive divorce from my husband, formerly known as Dickwad. Chapter 4 is out of hatred into forgiveness, because I do not regret anything that has happened in my life, because I know it wasn't what was done to me. It was done for me to chisel me into the 88% fabulous woman that I am now. And I want to share that experience on how to get to the other side and enjoy your life. And that's why I say, have the best day ever. All right. So 8 Ways to Happiness from wherever you are. You can get it everywhere. Amazon. They're selling it at Walmart now, Target, Barnes and Noble, Books A Million, Chapters, Indigo, all over, as well as my website. And if you want a signed copy, that's where you'll get it. And I will put whoever you want to give it to, like beloved Gretchen, you are beautiful, love Dr. Marissa, and I'll put courtesy of, or because of the love from, and then your name if you're using it as a gift, or you can just give it as a gift to yourself. All right. And the Asian Oprah giveaway is 8 copies of the audiobook version of 8 Ways to Happiness, which is actually narrated by yours truly. So you'll get the full-on emotional attachment to the words of my story if you go to drmarissa.life and put down holiday gift. It'll be my present to you for the first 8 people. And that's an audiobook of 8 Ways to Happiness from wherever you are. And when we come back, I have a question of the day, which is, how do you feel better about yourself? And when we come back, I have a question of the day. It's a little story that was shared on Facebook in one of my groups from someone who feels like there's something wrong with her. And I'll give you the answer for that question of the day when we come back here on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show on KCAA NBC News, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show. Streaming everywhere, and you can actually watch and listen on my YouTube channel. It's a free subscribe, almost 250,000 views. And you can also enjoy not just the 567 shows, but who's counting? You can also watch my red carpet interviews. Tony Hawk is the most recent one. Tommy Lasorda's daughter. I have Halle Berry, John Travolta. So all kinds of great stuff on that channel that you can free subscribe to. And you get an alert every weekday morning at 8 telling you there's a new show on its way. All right. And as promised, here is the question and answer of the day. So this young woman says, I am wrong and something is wrong with me. I feel so lonely and I don't want people near me. I am tired of fake people and fake love. I want to be hugged and kissed, but I don't desire to go through the process of meeting someone because I'm so afraid to be hurt and used. I desire to love, and yes, I hate seeing people happy because they have what I am and so desperate to have. I build walls as high as possible and cry when I'm alone. I wrote down all my desires and pray, but nothing yet. I think karma from a past life is happening and I must pay. Okay, so that was her situation, and here is my answer. Darling, it's not karma. The most powerful tool that we have in life is choice. And sometimes we get in this habit of choosing to feel sorry for ourselves, choosing to think the worst case scenario, choosing to see the worst in ourselves and in others. And it's a habit. And it's a habit that keeps us feeling bad and poorly. So if you're relating to this writing, I'm talking to you too. I want you to recognize that you have the power to feel good or feel bad. And we've abdicated our choice to whoever's loudest and whoever's talking and whoever's saying the worst possible things. If we start, as I mentioned earlier, scrolling, you're going to see the worst in people. You're going to see things that validate what you are thinking. So if you're in a bad place and you're not thinking good thoughts, you're going to gravitate towards posts and stories that will feed where you are. That's the law of attraction. On the other hand, if you choose to focus, I don't feel good right now, but I will feel better. And the good news is I am alive. And the good news is the planets did not crash into each other last night so that I'm dead. I am alive. I have arms to hold and hug, even though I don't feel like holding and hugging people. I have eyes to read these posts. I have taste buds to experience the deliciousness of life. I have a mind that can create and to expand. I have the ability to choose things that look good. I have the ability to turn away from things that are depressing me or sad songs that make me even feel worse than I already do. I have the choice of looking through my phone at some really good memories. I call that my Happy 88 tool of turning on a dime of memories. I have the choice of reaching out to people who may be in a worse place than me and offering them some words of hope. And you know what? When I don't feel good, I do the show. When I do the show, or when I do my motivational speaking, or when I'm a guest on somebody else's podcast, I will feel better just by what comes out of my mouth. And I'm so grateful for that. And I start my day with a gratitude sandwich. Now, those of you who've never heard me talk about this, great. Those of you who've already heard, it's a good reminder, because I don't know how many people are actually waking up and taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich, which is 8 specific things you're grateful for in the morning. That's what I would start doing. I would stop talking about the bridges that I build and stop talking about not afraid of someone breaking my heart. By the way, nobody can break your heart. Please. It's your heart. You can hold your heart and make sure that you love it. This is another Happy 88 tool that came out of the pandemic. You can hug yourself. It feels, yes, it's not the same thing, but if you close your eyes and you hug, you still get that, that sensation of being hugged and touched and calmed down and soothed. You can do that for yourself. You can soothe your mind. You can say, you know what? I'm going to let myself feel like a piece of crap for another 16 seconds. And I put my timer on, and then I have better things to do than sit here and do the chipmunk song. Lonely, I am so lonely. I mean, come on. It's not attractive. So 8 specific things in the morning that you are grateful for. You can't say friends and family, not specific enough. Grateful for the way my pillow feels, or the comforter on me, or the fact I have toothpaste, or I can take a hot shower, or I can have a cup of coffee. Little things. I can unload the dishwasher. Isn't that a great feeling when you do that? Or finish the laundry. I have a way to do laundry. I have clothes in the closet. All little things that we can be grateful for. And then at the end of the night, just before we go to bed, instead of rewinding and moaning and bemoaning our situation in life and why we're alone and there's nobody in the bed beside me, I can think of 8 specific things that I like about myself, that most of the time I'm loving, I'm caring, I'm creative, I'm funny. My husband used to say I was not funny, like on a regular basis. The best thing about divorce is I own my funny. I am innovative. I am fun-loving. I'm adventurous. I'm brave. I'm self-sufficient. I'm responsible most of the time. Those are things that I know about myself. So that's my advice, my answer to the question of the day. If you're feeling something wrong with you, prove that you're wrong. Prove that there is something right with you, because there is. There always is. You are one of a kind, wonderful. You are loving, lovable, and loved. And there's always something good that you can find about yourself. All right? So take a bite of my gratitude sandwich, please. And when we come back, I'm featuring one of my favorite interviews with one of my favorite octogenarians, Ron Klein. He's the grandfather of possibilities. He's an innovation expert. You'll know him. You all know him, even though you think you don't know him, because he was the inventor of the magnetic strip on the back of your credit card. When we come back on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. KCAAradio.com. And that goes to over 100 nations and millions of homes in Southern California. And congratulations. It is the #1 news talk station in the Inland Empire. And congratulations to yours truly for being the #1 8 a.m. show in the Inland Empire and in Southern California, second only to Bill Handel. So yes, I'm going to approve of myself for this second. And as promised, I'm bringing you Ron Klein, my spotlight interview. Such a beloved couple. They both came to my birthday on Zoom, Ron and Arlene. Enjoy these wonderful words from someone who continues to be inspiring. Enjoy.
I'm super pleased this week to have a guest who I have gotten to rub shoulders with and speak on stages with for several years. I meant to count how many years I've actually had the pleasure of flashing peace with him at almost every event. I think I met him at the first event was a Secret Knox like 2 or 3 years ago. And I was just amazed because he's so young. I think he's, what do we say? He's a millennial grandfather or a grandfather millennial, but he is the grandfather of possibilities. He's a sought after speaker all over the world, an ordinary man who accomplishes extraordinary things, whose innovative ideas have changed the world. He's the inventor of the magnetic strip on the credit card validity checking system, and the developer of computerized systems for MLS, real estate, multiple listing services, the voice response for the banking industry. And Ron, I'm going to have to talk to you about that because that's one of your inventions I'm not thrilled with. And then the bond quotation and trade information for the New York Stock Exchange. And thank you, Arlene, his beautiful wife. I wanted to do a piece in, piece out for managing his life and helping him be the fabulous person that he is. And I know how much, well, I don't know how much, but I know you do a lot of work, and I wanted to appreciate you on the air for sure. He is a problem solver, and every solution has resulted in monumental change, either in a new invention or a simple solution. He's a strategic advisor, consultant, mentor, problem solver, and speaker. And I'm proud to say, my friend. Please welcome to the studio, Ron Klein.
Oh my gosh, what an introduction, Dr. Marissa. There's nothing left for me to say. I've got 45 minutes to talk, and you said it all. My God, thank you so much.
Of course. I'm just so delighted that we finally got this together, and especially since the likelihood of me going dark soon, and with the book tour and not enough time, I went and switched schedules to make sure I got you, just so you know how special you are.
Well, I'm honored to be your last interviewer.
Yes.
But I do want to make one correction.
Okay.
You said I was a senior grandfather. I call myself a senior millennial.
A senior millennial. That is yes.
Right.
I like
hang
that.
Out with all those young people, and I'm a good listener. I just don't hear. So I learned so much from them because they explained to me the whole secret about the millennials today. They said that goldfish have an attention span of 9 seconds, but those who are millennials have an attention span of 8 seconds.
Yeah.
So if you've got something of value to say, you better get it out for the first 8 seconds. Otherwise, they're not going to listen to the rest.
Absolutely. So let me go back to the first time you actually felt like, okay, I'm going to be an inventor. Did that happen? Like, did you have a moment in your life when you were growing up when you went, oh, I think I'm going to be an inventor? How did that happen?
Well, it happened at around age 4.
Oh.
I think that's when I really discovered it, because I was raised during the Depression years.
Mm-hmm.
I was, by the way, I'm 83 years old, so that'll give you an idea as to how long I've been around. But we didn't have much money at the time, and there was hard times. And my greatest play toys was a roll of masking tape and cardboard. And from that, I became extremely creative. I made my own toys. And then for special occasions, for my birthday, I would get a ball of string. So that's how I knew I was going to be an inventor someday, because I didn't have much material to work with.
Wow. And what was your first invention? What was, besides the toys, what was your first invention that you could actually make money from? Because that's just the measure. Like, it's money energy.
Well, I studied as a commercial artist when I was in high school and vocational school. I had great talent for graphics, and I did some airbrush and some different mediums that I used as a commercial artist. And after I went into the service, I was drafted during the Korean War. After I came out of the service, I really loved electronics. And that's when I took advantage of the GI Bill.
Right.
And I was able to go to college under the GI Bill and really became extremely creative. So the first invention I really came up with to make money was when I worked for a major company developing low and frequency electrical systems. And then after I went on my own, then I got into the credit card and et cetera, et cetera. So
Right.
they were the things that actually generated revenue for me and gave me the ability to understand customer relationship, not just the technical aspect of working with technical people and being technical myself, but working with people that had requirements, consumers, and people like that. And I had the great appreciation for, let's solve the problem first before we make widgets and gadgets.
Right, right. So that's where your problem solving eye. And if you've just tuned in and you're wondering who I get to talk to today, it is Ron Klein, also known as the grandfather of possibilities. And do we have that YouTube from the Huffington Post? I was hoping we would get to see that one, but we'll have that queued up because it does talk about the credit card and how you did that, which I think is really super fascinating. But I also want to ask you, so if there's people who have bright ideas, so I think the MLS listing, when I first saw that you had done that, I remember in college saying to myself, wouldn't it be great if there was a way to put into some box that said, I want a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom, and instead of having to look at all of the different ads in the paper that said what was available, it would just like sort through. And I had that idea, and it wasn't in existence. But I didn't do anything with it. And I know I'm talking to
Marissa.
I should have. But it had already existed. I just didn't see it or was in the making. But for people who have these bright ideas and they think, wow, what do you tell them to do? Like, what's your advice on how to take that product but an idea into something that actually might be successful?
Well, I have two main philosophies that are very general, and then we can specifically get into that.
Okay.
First of all, I say that you have to reduce everything to simplicity. You have to say, what's the given that I'm working with for a solution, and what is the goal that I'm looking for? And everything else in between is really the minutia. It's the journey.
Okay.
So you don't want to start in the middle. You want to establish, what am I working with? What do I have? And what's the goal I'm seeking?
Right.
And then I summarize it by saying you've got to be three things, and I'll do it with my hands.
Okay.
You've got to be smart, daring, and different. And when I say smart, I don't mean a PhD from Harvard University or something like that. I'm saying be aware, learn something new every day, listen to and just know what's going on in the world around you. And then to be daring, don't be afraid of mistakes, because if you're not making mistakes, you're really not learning anything. And I say in a simple way, if you painted something wrong the first time and you painted it the wrong color, paint it a different color. There's only plan A.
Right.
Just keep painting it until you're satisfied.
Yeah.
And then the most important thing in success is to be different. Don't try and sell ideas, sell benefits.
Great.
So to answer your question, something has to be novel. It has to solve a problem and a challenge, and it has to provide a benefit.
Beautiful.
They're the things you look at first. If it provides a benefit, and if it's novel and it's an improvement, it's worth pursuing. I'm a rebel.
Yes, you are. And a wonderful rebel at that. I love the thing, like, don't go empty. I love that. I'm different. I like that. And you don't care what other people think. I think those two are answers to my earlier question too, is how do you continue to do the things that you do, is you really don't give a flying through a rolling donut what people say or think or how they react. You're doing something you love to do.
Dr. Marissa, I'm hoping that little video really gets a message across to your audience because, like I say, I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not an inspirational speaker, but my stories should be able to inspire people.
Yeah.
And the message that video gives is what I was saying before. What's the given? The given was to make a charge, what they called in those days a charge purchase. It was very slow.
Mm-hmm.
And also, what the solution was, we wanted to speed things up. So they had to look through all those numbers in a book that the credit card companies gave every month.
Yeah.
That was easy to solve that.
Yeah.
Just take all that stuff and put it into some kind of memory system.
Right.
And then the other problem was the burden of proof and the burden of credit to be awarded was on the wrong person. It was on the merchant. It should have been on the credit card companies. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, well, what can we give the merchant? Well, the interim was I gave the merchant a little keypad and I put all the stuff in memory and he would key in the account. And if it didn't come up in memory, the person was good to go. So that was the first point of sale. How simple that was.
Mm-hmm.
But then I said, wait, the burden is still on the merchant because he has to key the
numbers in.
And that's when the reel-to-reel tape recorders came out. And I said, well, geez, let me just take a little piece of that phenomena, the tape, put it on the credit card, and then the magic was make you the motor.
Right. So on
if you were there, you would have solved it the same way.
No, you give me way too much credit. You are different. You have a mind that sees possibilities, and that's why you're the grandfather of possibilities. But speaking of the credit card,
there's a gift behind every challenge.
Yes.
If you take problems and convert problems or frustrations.
Yeah.
But if you take that problem and turn it into a challenge, there's an opportunity or a gift behind every challenge.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. You're preaching to the choir on that one. But let's talk about the chip, because the chip looks like it is making the strip obsolete. However, I was in the audience when you were talking about this, and I haven't heard you say it. And by the way, I don't want you to argue with me. I want you to listen to me for 1 second. I'm sorry. You are a motivational speaker. You are an inspirational speaker, and I am not going to argue with you because I am always right, except when I'm not. And so whether you like it or not, that's what you do. You motivate people when you talk. That's what a motivational speaker is. So anyways, we're moving on.
Okay.
So, what's right and wrong with the chip? Why is the chip not necessarily going to make the strip obsolete?
Well, I'm not going to throw it under the bus, and I'm not going to speak terribly negative. I'm not a fan of the chip, and I'll just tell you why.
Yes.
Briefly.
Yes.
The chip does some very, very sophisticated algorithms and changing the PIN number, does some wonderful things.
Yes.
However, the reason the magnetic strip survived all these years, I patented it in 1966, is because it does not require energy. Something that does not require energy does not radiate. Said chip is a mini computer. It has no power on it while it's sitting in your pocket or in your purse. However, when you take that chip and you slide it into the new machine that had to be designed to receive, the machine energizes that chip so it has intelligence. What happens when you energize a little chip? It becomes a transmitter. What happens to people who are sitting in line behind you that are not credible people and have a little scanner in their pocket, and they scan that little transmitter and compromise your information? Do I have to say any more?
Yes. And I know you don't want to say anything bad, but is that one of the reasons why fraud has gone up in credit cards? Would you say
there was never fraudulent transactions at the point of sale with the magnetic strip? It was always the middle or at the store.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now things can be compromised. If you don't carry that credit card with a chip in it in a shielded envelope in your wallet or purse, I could come up behind you with a scanner, scan your wallet or purse, and steal your information.
Even if it's in a wallet with a bunch of other credit cards?
That's right, because I can energize it with a scanner.
And even if you haven't brought it out to put it in like just walking anywhere?
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear. Okay. So because I thought all those advertisements for those sleeves and, the wallets and the protector, I really thought it was gimmicky, but you're telling me it's not. So,
well, the safest way and the cheapest way to really protect it is go home and wrap it up in a piece of tinfoil. And then put it back in your wallet, and it's safe.
It's safe. Is that safer than the sleeve?
Same
thing. Okay, so you don't have to get the sleeve. So I have to take my whole wallet and wrap this whole thing in foil. Just is that okay?
No, just take the card and wrap it up.
But if I do this whole thing, and because I have like more than one card in here, so if I'm like looking around now. Is anybody scanning? Ryan, do you have a scanner? You have a scanner. So seriously, if I just put foil over this whole thing, it'll protect it?
Dr. Marissa, let's say this. That's only my opinion.
Okay. But still, but I'm
not
just saying.
throwing it under the bus.
Okay. All right. Next question. So,
Yes.
Any bumps in the road?
Oh.
Did you have? Okay, several.
Not bumps, collisions.
So tell me what actually they were to your motto. They weren't mistakes. They were learning, right?
Oh no, I made a lot of mistakes, and I learned from those mistakes.
Okay.
But I did some stupid things.
Okay, like.
Well, first of all, let me tell you a little bit of the story, and then stop me if we get close to a break.
Okay.
Because I've been known as a problem solver and I was doing real well, then people came to me to solve the problem of multiple listing. That was in 1967.
Yep.
And then voice response for banking. I came up with a great idea of what touch-tone phones came out. And I said, geez, isn't it great if you can take the touch-tone phone, key in your account number to the computer at the bank, and the bank says, okay, I got that information from the touch-tone phone. Let's turn it into voice. And let's send it back as voice information. So that was the voice response. And when I first invented it, it was very crude. So it sounded like a robot, This is a voice, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I synthesized it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got into, and the company just kept growing and growing because in those days, software and wasn't really a big advocate of things to make happen. So everything was solved with electronics. Parts and mechanical things, transistors and resistors and capacitors.
Mm-hmm.
So my company that I had started grew quite rapidly, and it was very large. I had engineers and draftsmen and manufacturing people. I was up to 125 employees, and I needed money. So I took the company through a private offering, raised some capital. Company was continuing to grow. I needed more money.
Right.
I finally took the company public on the stock exchange and raised more millions of dollars to really grow rapidly. And then it was so well known that a major insurance company came to me and said, we like what we see. We want to acquire you and buy your company. And I was reaching retirement age then. I was 34 years old. So it was time to retire.
Smart.
I thought. And I came from a very wealthy family. My dad was a mailman and my mom worked in the department store. So
sarcasm is another service you offer. Mm-hmm.
So let me tell you about my new invention.
Yes.
One day, Arlene and I have a very dear friend who was blinded at age 13. And he's a brilliant man. And he's a PhD. He had very high positions. And Arlene sat on the board of a major national firm for animals. And he was the chairman of the board at the time. And one morning, I just sat down with him for breakfast. And I said, we were having breakfast together. And I said, Jim, you know what? You're brilliant. You've got ideas. We both know that we can send people on the moon. And, I've invented things. But what's on your wish list? And he said, Ron, you know what? I wish there was something so simple that could help me with my daily life of things I come in touch with, my clothing, my spices, my CDs, my prescription medications, and so on forth. and just identify them in a simple way without having all this heavy paraphernalia that's available for the blind to decipher what's what. I said, let me think about it. And I went home, and 2 weeks later, I came up with an idea of specially little coded labels using the QR codes, QR coded labels, but they were specially coded, and an app that you could take that label and paste it on anything you want. Your peanut butter jar, your clothing, your prescriptions in your medicine cabinet, and then point the phone at it and describe what's in that box or what's in that device. And then just anytime you point it, let's say if you open up your medicine chest and you have everything marked with a label and you just scan your phone down the medicine chest, it will tell you which is your aspirin, which is your heart medication, and so on. And it worked. It worked great. And the labels are reusable. You can re-record. You can say when something's expiring. And the nicest thing is the app is free. And it's called, by the way, you can go to the website. It's called invention.com. It's ENVISION, Eli, because Eli was the blind prophet that read the Bible in Braille. So we selected his name.
That's so cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yes. So ENVISION, Eli, ELI.com, correct?
Right.
Okay.
And here's what you can do. All of your audience can play around with it.
Yeah.
Because then we manufactured little labels, little stick-on labels that could fit in one's pocket, a little 100-label packet that it sells for like $20. And they're reusable. And what blind person wouldn't invest $20 with a free app just so they can identify their clothing on a hanger?
That is
and
so
on.
awesome. So there's my favorite invention right
But
there.
anybody can play around with it, because if you have an iPhone or an Android phone, just go on and say Envision Eli, download the app. The app it looks like a green eye with Braille in it saying ELI.
Okay.
Just download that and then go on the website, inventioneli.com, and and say I want for the visually impaired, and there's a sample label that's programmable.
Right.
And you can use that over and over again. Just point the phone at it, follow the instructions.
That's
play
so
with
awesome.
If you come up with a good, innovative idea, I'll even help it. Let's say for somebody that wants to move from point A to B,
right,
and they start shoving a whole bunch of stuff in a box.
Oh.
They put a label in the box and just say, this is what's in the box. When
That's
you get
great.
to your new location and you got 100 boxes, you point your phone at it and it tells you what's in the box.
That's brilliant. So the last question that I ask all of my guests is, well, I know I just got a message. Someone wants to know your address so they can go dig up your your ginger jars. But that won't be my last question. The question
I'd like
is
them to go on my website because they see all
I would
these
like
videos
that.
and
I would
everything.
like that. So how do people find you?
Okay, the website is simple. It's www, the number 4, ronklein.com. That's RONKLEIN.
Right.
Now that points to the real website, which is the same, grandfatherofpossibilities.com.
Okay. So grandfatherofpossibilities.com, or just
that's really the
if
website,
yeah.
and 4 Ron Klein points to that.
Right. Beautiful.
That'll give them a little bit of entertainment.
Yeah,
So
that would be awesome. Yes.
Right.
Ron, for anyone who wants to know, is one of the most kind, accessible, friendly, service-oriented, wants to help you, doesn't want to make things difficult, wants to see everyone succeed. And for that, I am presenting him with Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award.
Thank you.
And not everybody gets that.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the last question that you have to answer in 30 seconds is, what are you most grateful for?
My wife and my family, and the fact that I hope I'll never be a burden to anybody on this planet, and just be helpful.
And you are. Thank you so much, Ron Klein, grandfather of possibilities, for coming on my show. I love you. I love your wife, Arlene. Look forward to seeing you at another event. Yes?
Thank you, sweetheart. Love you.
Love
Thank you
you
so
too.
much.
Bye.
And isn't he amazing? I just love both of them, Ron and Arlene. If you want to watch the rest of that interview, please do. Just free subscribe to my YouTube channel where you will get an alert for all the new shows at 8 a.m. weekdays, as well as have access to my new short film called The New PPP, Post-Pandemic Possibilities. And that's it for another fabulous day on Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA. And this is Dr. Marissa reporting live from my living room virtual studio during the pandemic, reminding you that it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. And have the best day ever.